Welcome back to Cody J Uncensored, the podcast where we take a closer look at the beauty industry, peel back the layers, and dive deep into what's really going on behind the scenes. I'm your resident pro MUA and beauty expert, Cody J, and today we're diving into a topic that's become a huge part of influencer culture, and that is PR packages. Love them or hate them, they've transformed the way brands and creators connect and the way audiences consume product. So smash that like and subscribe button and let's get into it. Okay, so if you've ever scrolled through Instagram or TikTok or YouTube, you've probably seen an influencer unboxing a beautifully curated package. It almost seems too perfect, really, and it's full of products sent by brands. Now, while it may seem glamorous, there's a lot more to it than meets the eye. So today I want to talk about both the positive aspects of PR packages, basically how they've helped influencers, brands, and even followers, and also talk about the concerns and ethical questions they raise. So let's get into it. So we're going to start off with the positive side and the benefits of PR packages. So one of the biggest reasons brands send out PR packages is to gain exposure and awareness, and honestly, it works. Keep in mind there's a lot of times where creators and brands confuse what PR truly is. If a brand or a company sends you items and they tell you that in order to receive them, you have to do A, B, or C, that is not PR, that is a product exchange collaboration, and you need to file taxes on that accordingly in most parts of the world. Now, if a brand or company sends you a box of product and there's no obligation whatsoever, that is true PR. There's also this weird conversation happening on social media where, like, most people are incorrect. Creators, influencers, etc., do not pay taxes on the value of true, genuine PR in the United States. And it is not a creator or influencer's obligation to pay anything on those samples, essentially. They are gifts. Now, I work on the brand side, so I'm sending thousands of PR packages cumulatively for all the brands that I manage and always have. And it's definitely fun to be able to send packages to creators or influencers or even random people, honestly, because one, it puts a smile on their face, but two, even though true PR does not come with obligations, the whole point of us on the brand side sending out those products and those PR boxes is to hopefully get something created out of it, you know what I mean, in exchange. But we can't legally say that there's an obligation because, again, it's not PR at that point. So basically, on the brand side, instead of spending hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars on traditional advertising every year, we can reach an influencer or creator's audience directly through PR packages. So whether it's a beauty brand launching a new palette or a small business trying to break into the market, PR packages give brands a cost-effective way to make a splash in the world or in the niche that they're a part of. Obviously, with that, though, is a downside of you can send X amount of dollars worth of product, over a certain period of time, and maybe nobody does anything with it. Unfortunately, that's just the risk that these companies or agencies or these brands take when sending out PR to creators. Since there is no obligation, you may get nothing in return. You may just get a quick little basic story post that does nothing for anyone, and it's basically you just wasting your money at that point. But obviously on the flip side, there's those chances where, if you're seeding product to the right people, that they could post something that blows your product out of the water, that puts you on the map, that really drives conversion and sales. But don't get it twisted. Creators and influencers are not salespeople. Maybe they make videos or ads sometimes where it sounds like it, but at the end of the day and at their core, that's not what they're meant to do. They're meant to bring eyes on a product or a service or a brand, a company, etc., not sell something. And I wanted to clarify that because it seems like there's a lot of misunderstanding these days. So let's take a moment to talk about authenticity. Okay, so when influencers try out a product and they share their what's supposed to be honest thoughts, it obviously can resonate with their followers in a way that traditional ads just don't. It feels more personal, like it's almost like you're getting, direct advice from a friend or somebody who just like you hang out with all the time that actually knows what they're talking about. Whereas like a traditional ad is just meant to hit all the key marketing points, and it feels like it is what it is, which is an ad, and people don't usually resonate with that. When creators or influencers create reviews or do first impressions and they're actually honest, those reviews can help their followers make more informed decisions. And that's what is important to me on the creator side. I don't take a penny from brands the majority of the time. I do very little paid partnerships. And even when I do accept paid partnerships, I've never once lied in anything I've ever created because I'm authentic, I'm honest, and I would never deceive my audience. But we know for a fact that there are many creators and influencers that will lie right through their teeth just for a quick paycheck. So it's one of those things where it's a hard balance because it's like at this point, nobody trusts any creator or influencer, no matter what their history is, because it just always feels like you're being sold to or, that somebody's lying. And it's very, very disappointing. But at the end of the day, creators or influencers are supposed to create authentic and honest reviews so that you can make a more educated, informed decision on if you want to purchase something. Now, PR packages also can be a huge source of inspiration for these influencers' followers. followers. I mean, how many times have you personally seen an influencer do an unboxing from a makeup company, or, try on and style a new outfit from a fashion company, and maybe you were like, wow, I want to try that. That's kind of ultimately the point. And don't forget that this is not a marketing tactic that's just about big brands or big creators. For smaller or niche specific businesses, PR packages are also a game changer. They may not have a budget for, massive billboards or, TV spots or anything like that. Like maybe just tapping into an influencer's audience is the best that they are able to do. And in the world where influencers and creators basically run social media, it's an extremely important marketing tactic to be involved in. Obviously, every brand has a different type of budget they can allocate towards, influencer or creator marketing, and that's fine. Not every brand is going to be able to afford every creator, and that's also fine. It just means that they need to be more strategic in the types of creators that they work with. Another benefit to sending out PR packages is almost like a sense of exclusivity, essentially, especially if they're doing a campaign with a limited amount of creators. Those influencers get early access to the products then, which means that their followers, when they're watching these reviews and these videos, they feel like they're getting essentially the inside scoop. And that builds excitement. And it also can start causing that FOMO, fear of missing out, because, people, they really love what the creator or influencer is talking about. They're going to want to purchase it as soon as they can. This also applies to influencers influencing or creators influencing other creators. I mean, most of the time when I make a purchase personally for my content, it's because I saw another creator talk about it and I was like, wow, I want to try that too. So it's not only just, the normal consumers that get benefit out of creators or influencers utilizing PR packages. And of course, what goes hand in hand with that kind of exclusivity vibe is the fact that it keeps an influencer's content fresh and engaging, because it's always going to be something new. Because it seems like, especially in the beauty community, a lot of things are just being done over and over and over by a variety of creators. I mean, there's only so many things that people can do. It's very hard to come up with something completely unique and exclusive to them. So it's something that on the viewer side of things, you can be excited about seeing because it's something new. And on the creator and influencer side, it's also exciting to create content around those new products that you only are able to do right in that moment because you got it early. Another aspect of PR that I feel like a lot of maybe creators more than anything don't really talk about is it's essentially used as kind of like the first step in creating more of a longer term partnership with a creator. I mean, trust me, like I said, I work on the brand side as well. I've spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on creators that were an absolute flop. They had no conversion, which again, not everything's about sales. It depends on the point of view of the campaign. What is the actual goal of the campaign? But, they converted zero, no sales. The brand got no new followers. Like the discoverability and the viewership of the product that they were supposed to be talking about just didn't happen because maybe they, purchased followers, or maybe they inflated their engagement, or there's a lot of trickery that creators and influencers do. Don't get me wrong. Not everyone's honest. And, while we on the brand side have tools like Mavic and Dash Hudson, where we can evaluate creators, we can see how much potential fraud is on their account. We can see all their metrics, even when they hide them. There's still going to be people that slip through the cracks. And also, not every partnership, even if a creator has really good metrics like viewership and engagement and whatnot, not every partnership is going to resonate with every type of creator's audience. And that's also one of those things where it's kind of like, on the brand side, you need to do a little bit more research when sending out product to creators or even working with them in a paid capacity, because just because they have good vanity metrics doesn't mean, their audience will resonate with that, like I mentioned. So it's like you really need to kind of see what type of sponsorships do they normally do and how do those perform. So just wanted to go off on that little side tangent for just a moment. But like I was saying, essentially PR is kind of like an introductory period. It's like a test period with creators, It's basically like, let me send out these products to a creator and let's see what they do with it. Like, are they going to make content or are they not? That says a lot right then and there. You know what I mean? And once they do create content, if they do create content, I should say, how did that content perform? How did their audience receive it? If they did like a review or something and their audience loved it and wanted to see more, and we saw the engagement and we're like, impressed by that, that's then where we'll probably want to upgrade that partnership level to something in a paid capacity, like a flat fee for, them to create and post a video on their platform. But, that's why PR is super important. And while there's no obligation, I do think it's really important for creators and influencers to take advantage of the opportunity of that PR that they received to create better connections with the brand. I think a lot of creators or influencers get very, tunnel vision with things. And they're like, well, I'm not getting paid when I, get this PR. I'm not going to talk about it. And it's like, at the end of the day, it allows you to create fresh content. It allows you to talk about products before other people. It allows you to establish an actual relationship with the brand. And that always can lead to something much bigger, better, and all the good things. So I feel like creators and influencers need to kind of rework their thought process on a lot of things and maybe not be as arrogant or entitled in what they feel like they offer or how much power they think they have. because there's always going to be another influencer or creator that can be hired instead of them. You know what I mean? You catch my drift. Now let's kind of go in a different direction and talk more about the concerns around PR packages. Now, obviously we've been talking about the positive side of PR and the benefits for both the creator and the brand side, as well as, the actual consumers or viewers on social media. But as with anything, there are concerns, and I would be doing a disservice to you if I didn't talk about them and kind of give you just more of a thought out, well-rounded, picture of what's really going on. Now, one of the biggest criticisms that I personally see on both the creator and the brand side when it comes to PR is overconsumption. Basically, people are kind of creating this narrative that, all these creators and influencers are just getting all this free stuff, and it's just kind of like a more vibe, and they couldn't possibly use that product practically, and therefore it's a waste. And there's certainly a lot of truth to that. And, I can't speak for what other creators or influencers do with all of their extra product because I'm not them. But for me, I've always been known on my platforms for giving away 90-something% of all my PR. I will just do a thank you story post or a PR haul, something like that, just at least showcase what I got. But if I know right then and there that, this group of product here or that little chunk of product, PR there is not something that I know I'm going to like. You never really know if you're gonna like something until you use it, but I know ahead of time what types of products that I like and don't like. I don't like liquid highlighter, so when I get those, I'm not gonna review them for the most part. There's things like that, graphic liner types of stuff, and just potted concealer. I don't like that kind of product, so I know I'm not going to use it. So that's where I take a lot of my extra PR and I just put it in giveaway bins, or I'll reach out to people. Mainly what I do is I reach out to people and just ask them if they'd like to receive a box of makeup and skincare goodies, and I ship off my product that way. So, I save the majority of PR I get and then I just give it to people. I don't want to open that PR and then, compromise the product and then do nothing with it. And also, if a product is something that doesn't excite me, I don't want to review it or do a first impressions and then just let it sit there. You know what I mean? So I try to be a little bit more intuitive and smarter with the decisions I make with the product I get, because I don't want to be wasteful. Brands can send me thousands of products a year, which they do, which is great. I'm grateful for that. But I, in turn, personally turn around and give away the vast majority of it because I don't want to participate in overconsumption at the end of the day. Just because I receive it doesn't mean I'm participating in overconsumption, because I am doing something practical and useful with the product. You know what I mean? Where some people just hoard all their makeup and they have tens of thousands of products just sitting there expiring. And to me, that's quintessential overconsumption. Then we have the issue of transparency and honesty. Again, I'm all about honesty and transparency, but a lot of creators are not, unfortunately. They will do whatever they can and say whatever they need to say to stay in the good graces of these brands to ensure that they continue receiving PR. And to me, that's just so disingenuous and such a disservice to that influencer's audience, because you're just not being an authentic person. I'm known for being completely real and raw in all my reviews. There are so many products that I've tried that I've received in PR that I absolutely hated. And guess what? I made it known. I don't care. I'm not reaching out to these brands to get PR. They're asking me because they think I could be a benefit to them. And that's great. Wonderful. Pat myself on the back. Nice. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to say something nice about your product automatically just so you keep giving me free product. I am more than able and willing to buy product myself and have for many years. PR is a great thing, like we talked about earlier. There's a lot of benefit to that to me as a creator, to be able to receive brand new things for free. It makes content creation much easier. But again, I'm not personally going to just lie about something to continue receiving PR. That's ridiculous to me. I have so much appreciation to my fellow creators and influencers that actually are honest when it comes to PR. They don't just lie out their teeth just to continue getting it. But definitely there seems to be a fine line between honest reviews and just becoming basically human billboards. Because if every single thing that a creator receives in PR somehow is the best they've ever had, or they absolutely love it, or all these different things, to me, that shows there's no way that you're being honest if you love absolutely everything you've tried. You know what I mean? Come on. Especially if I never see them talk negatively about products or brands, I know you're not an authentic person, because there's no way in hell that you're getting on the internet and making videos and every single thing that you've ever tried from every brand is amazing. Please. Now, another concern that people have when it comes to PR packages is the environmental impact, which totally is relevant and makes sense. Now, if we went back to 2016 to 2020, these PR packages had beyond over-the-top elaborate packaging, and obviously most of it is not recyclable. I remember seeing the beauty blender PR packages to some of these mega influencers, and they would get delivered. There'd be hundreds of them delivered in one giant beauty blender egg. What are you doing with all that packaging alone? You're not recycling it. That giant pink egg can't be, recycled or anything like that. And I've seen so many brands where it's just what is the point Like, I feel like their point is if they create something elaborate, the influencer is going to be more excited to show it off because it's not just showing up in a regular brown box. So it just makes their content, it enriches their content, makes it more exciting, and like it increases the chance that they're going to talk about that. So like I understand that, but to an extent there has to be a balance between, you know, creating something to send to an influencer or creator where, and I keep saying both creator and influencer because they're very different things. So I don't want to like alienate one, and you know, I want to make sure they're both included in this conversation because this applies to both creators and influencers. But anyway, you know, there needs to be a fine line between sending something to creators and influencers where it's beautiful, it's a little bit extra and over the top because it's like that's something those, you know, creators and influencers have created for themselves. They've created platforms for themselves that are beneficial, and they should have a little bit of, you know, a benefit from that, a little bit of extra sparkle on the products they receive as basically a reward or, you know, a pat on the back for their accomplishments of the work that they have done and the success they've had. So they should get something a little bit bigger and better than, you know, a random brown box with a product in it. But that doesn't mean you have to send somebody like these like 4x4 giant packages that are just crazy, because what do you do with that? It just becomes junk. Now, there's also this pressure that influencers might feel to promote everything they've sent. And I've kind of touched on that a moment ago, but it is true. It's like, you know, and I've experienced this absolutely, especially in the beginning of my career, where it's like you receive product and then I stress out to try and create content. Again, I'm going to be honest with my content, but like I would stress out that like, you know, I have all these packages sitting on the floor. These brands are waiting for me to create content. And then it's like, you know, you get stressed and you get anxiety over it, and then you feel like you're behind when you're not. And then it takes priority over the actual other types of content you want to create, because I feel like it makes you feel like there's a countdown, you know, in regards to that PR. And none of that's true. It's not true. Again, PR is obligation free. So I've adapted that mentality over the last couple of years where it's like, I don't worry about it. You know what I mean? And I've had brands reach out and be like, you know, oh, we sent you X, Y, and Z. Like, are you going to make a video? Where's the video? And I'm like, it's sitting on my floor. I'll get to it when I get to it, if I want to get to it. But, you know, if you want me to make a dedicated, if you want to guarantee that I'll make a dedicated post, like, you know, I can send you my rates. But other than that, there's no obligation. And honestly, when brands do that, that's going to make me not want to talk about their products. And I've absolutely, you know, scratched video ideas where brands were inappropriate, unprofessional, or rude to me when they're like, we sent you X, Y, and Z, where's the video at? Like, we're waiting. And I'm like, excuse you? No, ma'am. So it can also backfire when those brands behave that way towards creators. But no, there's definitely a sense of pressure because, you know, obviously at the end of the day, you want to continue receiving PR from brands. You want to stay in their good graces because that's only a good thing. But again, there has to be a fine line between brand expectations when it comes to PR and a creator's process on how they, you know, actually showcase that product, and if they showcase it and in what kind of time frame, all of the things. But you know, there is certainly a sense of pressure attached to when you receive PR. So like I said, when I do get like, you know, a larger amount here and there, you know, there's months throughout the year where I don't really get much, and then there's months where I get way too much. You know, at the very least, I will do like some story slides on my social platforms, just, you know, saying like, thank you, tagging the brand, thanking them for the product, blah, blah, blah. That way, like for me, I'm like, well, at least the brand is seeing that I acknowledge that I received their product. And then it gives me time, like in my mind, to find, you know, a time and a date and time for me to actually create content around that product if I want to. And if I don't, then I don't. But ultimately that scenario creates this mentality, like an inauthentic mentality to a lot of creators where it's like they feel obligated to talk about it even if they don't like it. And at the end of the day, all that will do is ultimately just destroy the trust that you've built up with your followers, and ultimately that will ruin your platform. Another thing I want to talk about, which I don't know if I've ever seen anyone talk about it, is the mental health impact on the followers that these creators or influencers have. Because, you know, when you're constantly seeing influencers receiving luxury products and trips and all these just really amazing, nice things, it certainly can create unrealistic expectations and make you feel kind of inadequate to them, you know? And it's easy to forget that, you know, what these creators and influencers have is really not like normal life. Like me personally, I've always wanted my platforms to be about education and a little bit of entertainment and just give you a safe place to be and enjoy content where you're benefiting from it, you're enjoying your time there. It takes you out of kind of like the routine of real life where maybe it's stressing you out and just not fun. But like, I've never have, and I never would want any of my followers to feel like how I live my life is better than theirs, or what I have is better than theirs, or, you know, things like that, because it's like, there's always going to be someone better than you. You know, these influencers that act like, you know, their shit don't stink. It's like, that's just the most unrelatable and just gross type of person to me. If you have to be constantly flashy, like that's gross to me. No one's saying that a creator or an influencer cannot have nice things and have nice, you know, go nice places and just whatever. But like, there's a time and place to talk about things and show things. And if you live in a really nice house, have a fancy ass car, and have lots of money and nice clothes and all those things, that's fine. If that's a lifestyle you have. Again, there's a difference between being on the internet and just, living the lifestyle you have, and then also being braggish about it. You know what I mean? Like, what I'm saying and what I feel like a lot of people are saying is like, you don't have to brag about it. And there really is a big difference. I feel like as a creator or an influencer, especially the larger ones with more success and money and opportunities, all the things, I do feel like there's somewhat of a sense of responsibility to not make people feel like they're inadequate. You know what I mean? Like I said, I've seen many influencers where it's like, all they talk about is their nice cars. All they talk about is their nice stuff. And those things have nothing to do with what their actual platforms are about. That's when you're just bragging. If you want to be excited about the new car you bought, talk about it one time and that's it. You know what I mean? But like to constantly talk about, these materialistic things and financial things when it has nothing to do with your content, just shows that you're in it for the money, you're in it for the things, and that makes people not feel great. Anyway, let's get off of that topic and talk about something else. Let's talk about oversaturation. I feel like people more than anything think that social media is oversaturated, and creators also routinely say that they feel like their industry is oversaturated. As far as how much product is hitting the market, I definitely think, especially in the beauty space, that it's oversaturated. And if everyone's promoting similar products all at the same time, I feel like the excitement dies down, because it's like you've seen 83 people in the same day talk about the same product in almost the same fashion, because again, to an extent, you can only talk about products so many different ways. But, brands and influencers lose that unique connection with their audience when everyone's doing the same thing at the same time. So I feel like on the marketing side, you should have staggered releases with the PR and the products that you're putting out, so that not everyone's talking about the same thing at the same time, because that's boring. And, viewers are not going to watch a million different creators talk about the same thing. And, as a consumer, it's definitely going to make you kind of not feel excited about it if people are just basically shoving it down your throat. You know what I mean? So there's definitely a lot of downsides to PR packages as well that I feel like more than anything, brands don't think about. Now, all in all, there are plenty of pros and cons when it comes to PR, but at the end of the day, it's about striking a balance. So where do we go from here? Clearly, PR packages do have their perks, and they also come with challenges that we really, as a society, need to start addressing a little bit more. But for brands and influencers, it really is about balance. So being mindful of, like I said, the environmental impact, or making sure that you're actually promoting authentic content and not overloading your audiences with constant unboxing really could go a long way. I mean, there's a time and place for everything. And if the majority of your content is just about unboxing things and you're not really doing anything with it, that's wasteful. And to me, that is the definition of overconsumption. Now, on the flip side, if you're receiving PR, you're being honest about it, you're utilizing it as a creator and influencer to, supercharge your content and really create, effective content and educational, beneficial content, then by all means, keep collecting that PR, keep doing the damn thing, and good for you. Now, if you're a follower of a creator or an influencer, please remember that, take all this with a grain of salt. You're only seeing a part of the highlight of everything. You're only seeing a little bit. You're not seeing the full picture. And, you don't really actually know what goes on behind the scenes on the brand side or the creator side, or the decisions that go into, how creators make their content. And, please also remember that just because maybe you most likely have experienced a larger creator or influencer, flat out getting busted for lying in a review or first impressions, or, not disclosing a partnership, or whatever the case may be, just because there are creators or influencers that do that does not mean we're all like that. There are plenty of creators and influencers that have been absolutely honest with you from start to finish, from the very beginning of their career to literally right this very moment, who have never intentionally steered you wrong, who have never taken a check to lie in a video and actually care about their audiences. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, you have a responsibility as a viewer to evaluate the creators and the influencers that you're following and make sure they align with who you are as a person, because really the only person that you can blame for feeling like you've been duped by an influencer is yourself. Because if you know that someone has a track record of not being honest and kind of playing games and playing in your face, and you continue to follow them, and then they do something again and you feel offended, like you signed up for that. You know what I mean? So my point is maybe it's worth it to take a little bit of extra time to really look into the creators and influencers that you are following or may want to follow, and look at their content, look how they treat people and their audience, and look at who they are as a person as far as like what they put out into the world on social media, and make some decisions that way. There are plenty of us, like I said, creators that are working our asses off, that create amazing, beneficial, high quality content, who just get overlooked, myself included, because you have the people that are already at the top. And those people are the ones that are, treating people the worst. So just something to keep in mind. And I just want to say, PR packages are not automatically good or bad. They're just a marketing tool. And ultimately, it's up to brands and the influencers they're utilizing to use them in just a good way, a proper way, an authentic way. Now, here are some of my final thoughts. So while PR can, of course, be a fun and beneficial tool for both influencers and brands, it's important to consider essentially the larger impact that it has on a society and in the social media realm. On one hand, PR can provide fresh content for creators. It fosters better brand connections. It's good to use as a test period with creators, and it can even help small businesses to finally gain visibility without having to spend, a fortune. But on the other hand, as I talked about above, it obviously can contribute to essentially overconsumption and materialism, and none of that's great. So while the line between PR being harmless fun and promoting overconsumption as a lifestyle can be a very fine line, it often really just depends on how influencers choose to engage with their PR packages, and of course the responsibility they take towards their audience's well-being and their consumption habits. Like I said, I kind of touched on how I utilize my PR and my thoughts behind it and the decisions I make, but ultimately everyone's different, and how they, utilize that PR and whether or not they actually engage in overconsumption is individual to each creator. So I want to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Are PR packages a win-win for everyone, or do they do more harm than good? Thank you for tuning into Cody J Uncensored. I hope today's conversation got your brain going and maybe helped you think about PR from more angles than you're used to. Until next time, stay curious, stay beautiful, and don't let anyone censor you.